Hi, this is Frank Taylor with Nature at Your Door. Today's episode is going to be about reproduction. It's about the mating behavior of the red-spotted newt, how to tell males from females, what the males do, what the females do, how they wind up getting their eggs fertilized. And the end is pretty surprising about how they actually end up doing this. I am fascinated by the amphibians, and especially the salamanders. And I've done several videos already on salamanders and especially on the red-spotted newt. So if you don't know the life history of the red-spotted newt, check out that video I did, and also check out the video I did on the toxic red F stage and how it walks around in the forest, bright orange with impunity. So after my obligatory trailer, I'm going to talk about newt reproduction, Amplexus, pheromones, tail wagging, and a lot of other interesting behaviors, so stay tuned. Right here in your backyard, you never know what you're going to find. And here's to make this invasive. It's exotic. Front yard. Dogwoods are flowering. And I just took a couple swipes of terrestrial environment.
Produce seed pollen. And it's
So I see newts in my pond here year-round, and right now there's literally hundreds, maybe even 1,000 newts. And they're especially active right now. It's the middle of March, and the adults are here to mate. There are so many here, I can practically just reach my hand in and grab a newt out of the pond. So I dipped my net, took out a couple newts so we could look at them up close. So a lot of people, the first question they want to know is, how do you identify a male newt from a female? Well, to identify the male newt, there's several things you can look at. The male newt is described as having a heavily keeled tail, and that tail is sometimes longer than its actual body length. So take a look at this male and see how keeled that tail is and how thin it is on the edges. Another feature that I think is more obvious is the rear legs. On males, they're very swollen. So the males have much larger, much fatter, swollen rear legs when compared to the female. So look closely at how fat the rear legs are on this male newt. It's really amazing. And the last feature that's not so readily apparent, and it's hard to get a look at, is the structure of the cloaca in the males. Both males and females have a cloaca, and the cloaca is basically the business end of many amphibians and snakes, and it's an opening to which the urinary tract, the digestive tract, as the intestine, and the reproductive tract all enter into this one opening. So in the newt males, this opening is swollen and distinctly red, as you can see in this male right here. The females look very much like the males. Their tail is not so keeled. Their legs, they don't have the swollen rear legs or the big rear legs like the males do. And their cloaca is not enlarged and red like it is in the males. So what's going on in the pond here? I saw lots and lots of activity here in the pond. I could see males and females moving around. And you can do this too if you have a pond where there's newts. Just sit by the edge of the shoreline and let things get still for a minute. Because when you first walk up, they all take off. But if you sit quietly for a minute, and that's what I did, and that's how I got all this footage, I sat quietly by the edge of the pond and I just watched and waited. And pretty soon, everything started coming out, even tadpoles. And I watched newts probing from place to place, and you can tell they're looking for some action. So females are choosing males right now. And it's the female that decides which male is going to provide the genetic contribution to the future generation of newts. The males in turn try to attract the females by releasing pheromones. And they'll do several things to attract females. There's the release of a chemical in the water from the male that is attractive to the female. The males will wag their tails in this manner to waft some of that pheromone towards the female. They'll do some wiggling behaviors, and the females apparently will also cue in on the red spots on the sides of the males. If things between a male newt and a female newt advance, the male will approach the female and grasp her firmly with his rear legs. And he's trying to get right up behind her front legs on top of her. And you can see in these videos, these are males and females locked together in a form of Amplexus. Amplexus occurs in other amphibians as well. For example, when toads are mating, a male toad will approach a female from behind, grasp her around the waist, not let go. He'll stay attached to her until she releases eggs. And as she releases the eggs, he will disperse his genetic material, his sperm cells, which will swim to the eggs and fertilize the eggs from an external vantage point. So toad egg fertilization is said to be external because it occurs in the water by the release of the genetic material from the male over the eggs in the water. Amplexus between these newts will go on for quite some time. And it really looks like the male newt seems to be virtually strangling the female. And I wonder if there's an impact on their survival when they're locked together like this. I inadvertently dipped a net looking for some of these newts and came upon a coupled pair. And you can see I can hold them right in my hand and they still won't release. In a few minutes I returned them to the water, still locked together, and they continued to go about their business. While they're in this state called Amplexus, where the male newt has grasped onto the female with his rear legs just behind her two front legs, he will move his tail around and release pheromones and wag his tail to drift those pheromones to the female, hopefully to cause her to be more receptive. He'll also rub his cheek against her snout. While they're doing this, they may attract the attention of other males, and sometimes there's a bit of wrestling going on between the female and the male. Males will come over and try to dislodge the male from the female and take her place. This is rarely successful. So if all goes well between this male and the female, and all the biological, behavioral signals fit, and all the chemical signals fit, the end result is the male will drop a packet of his genetic material, his sperm cells in a packet. So the packet of genetic material lays on the pond bottom, and the female will move over it and position herself so she can pick up this packet of genetic material with her cloaca. Meanwhile, other males will try to circumvent this behavioral action where the female is choosing the best genetic material for the future generation. Not so aggressive males who weren't successful in Amplexus may try to drop their packets of sperm right there in front of the female and hope that she'll pick those up instead of the one that actually mated with her. The more I learn about biology, the more amazing stories I find, and I love sharing these with you. I love coming down here at the pond and seeing all the different kinds of organisms, and every time I get a chance, I'm going to share what I observe with you so that you can go out and look for cool things the same, so you have that experience and a knowledge base. This is the view behind me while I've been filming. There are two newts pretty close together, a third newt on the right, another newt over here, another newt there, some more newts over this way. It's a pretty crowded day down here at the pond. Thanks for watching Nature at Your Door. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what I do, and please give me a like, and I love hearing comments from you. Till the next episode.